Ladies and gentlemen, on the other debate, there has been a bizarre proposal by the Karnataka government which has created political ripples across India. The multinational companies in Karnataka will now be asked to display on their premises on notice board the number of Kannadigas they employ. A panel has already been formed by Chief Minister Siddaramaia's Culture Minister Shivraj. Even all the other MLAs have been asked to give their suggestions on this proposal. The BJP has torn into the Congress for such a regressive proposal and branded it fresh drama which would never materialize. Listen in to the war of words.
It will be mandatory for all MNCs to display how many Kannadigas have been employed.
Yes, 101% ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆದೊಳಗ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಅದು ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳಾಗಿದೆ. ನೇಮ ಮಾಡೋ ಹೊತ್ತಿನಾಗ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸಮಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಸಮಿತಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ನಾನೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಾನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು.
Whatever the government makes a statement, it will be just on paper. When it comes to the implementation, no government, no officers, they take interest. They just don't take interest. They just use all these things to harass the companies, not even a little bit of concern for the people of the Karnataka. It has become more of a political drama. This is nothing a political drama for the consumption, political consumption.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Even as the Karnataka government now wants a display of the number of Kannadigas, will multinationals actually make a beeline for Bengaluru or look for other greener pastures with these absurd policies coming up? We'll debate that. Joining me on the News Hour, debate number 2 tonight, Bhaskar Rao, spokesperson of Karnataka BJP. Also joining me, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, political analyst. But my first question goes to Dr. Sanjay Jha, author, scientist, suspended Congress leader, and what a disastrous moves, Dr. Sanjay Jha. You're a pragmatic man, and even though you're a congressman or were a congressman or wannabe congressman, the fact is that you've always called a spade a spade. Do you think this idea of multinationals having to display the number of Kannadigas they employ is a regressive move? And is this the new wine in old bottles that the Congress wishes to serve, metaphorically?
Navika, this is a very serious subject in my opinion. And I believe that no matter what the other panelists, their political affiliations are, we are all obliged to follow the constitution of this country. Now, let me give you two sides of the argument. Number one, the BJP should not indulge, at least in these sensitive matters, into some kind of a political witch hunt and rhetoric. Because, Navika, the truth is that if you look at Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and you have the classic case of Haryana, all of them ruled by the BJP at very relevant junctures, where they supported the hiring of locals. Forget what the Karnataka government is saying now, just putting out the name of the local people. In Haryana, a BJP-ruled state, they actually passed a law, Navika, that 75% of the local population must be recruited in the private sector below a certain salary threshold. Now, I can tell you that this is basically a complicated area, and I'll tell you why. One, if you follow the Indian constitution, Navika, it does give the state governments a degree of, shall we say, flexibility or leverage to recruit people locally, because that is part of positive discrimination, especially for those who are socially and economically disadvantaged. I feel this is something that all governments need to handle in conversation with multinationals and corporates and MSME, etc., because the employers want the best talent, whether it is from the state or from the outside. And personally, I believe no citizen of this country should be prohibited from getting a job in any other state. So I am of the view that everyone should have the freedom of movement and freedom of employment wherever. I'm from Bihar. I have lived in Maharashtra all my life. As you know, Navika, can I share it personally? My daughter, by the way, in Karnataka over the last year. So I do believe that, this is a political challenge for all parties. And I do expect Mr. the BJP spokesperson here to give a pragmatic response and not necessarily become parochial here. Political parties have a responsibility to look after their state. There is a
look after your state, but multinationals being forced to display this, Anand Ranganathan. Where are we headed? Where are we headed? Where is the constant policy which is so important to bring in investment, and where can we actually begin to look at investments, look at our Indian cities, bringing in big companies, larger companies, and getting investment into India? Before I get Anand Ranganathan on that, let me get in Mr. Bhaskar Rao. Mr. Bhaskar Rao. No, Sanjay Jha, I'll give you time to counter, but Bhaskar Rao.
Because of the IT companies,
Navika, at the outset, there is no need to panic. Nobody is going to take such of these legislations very seriously. As the co-panelist pointed out, number of states have said that states have got an obligation to give employment to their own persons over there. They may have made a policy, they may have done. Now it looks absolutely ridiculous that you put a board outside and try to chalk piece how many Kannadigas are there, how many non-Kannadigas are there. And more important than that, today Karnataka is such a melting pot that there are second and third generation migrants whose children speak very fluent Kannada. How are you going to define who is a Kannadiga over there? So he is under pressure from some goons and some people who destroyed some property over there to bring about such a law to police. These are absolutely non-enforceable things, but definitely IT companies, MNCs, they are very mindful. And since they have crossed borders and have come, they are themselves give a lot of preference to the localites over there. So unnecessary panic need not be there over there. Things are absolutely fine. Other states have also, like Tamil Nadu also has mentioned the same thing. Andhra also has mentioned. Even a state like Rajasthan also has said that employment should be given to locals. They are also not wrong in saying the MNCs are going to get the best of the talent over there. I only appeal to you is that let us not escalate this and make it into a huge issue. They are a political party and they want to show that they are being a party. But if you go into the background, 3 or 4 decades ago, when so many public sector undertakings were in Karnataka, most of the Kannadigas got the jobs in all the, whether it's HIL, BL, BML, ITI, or BHEL, all of them. But those times migration was not. But now we are a country.
The point, Sanjay Jha, is stability of policy and creating panic. And this announcement by a minister who says that industries and MNCs, when he names MNCs,
you can't even
is it not going to spook them? Is it not going to spread panic? And should such announcements be made in a knee-jerk manner without thinking it through, Sanjay Jha?
I want to start by actually congratulating
India for a variety of other reasons because of a huge talent pool. And these are very, very small things. And nobody needs to get panicked about these things. Everything will run absolutely peacefully.
Yeah, in fact, I really appreciate you, sir, for making this a very reasonable and what I believe is an intelligent conversation, because unemployment is a challenge. All political parties, whether it is the BJP or the Congress, have a compulsion to deliver to the people who vote them into power. And I think that the challenge, Navika, is this, that the multinationals that we talk about in Bengaluru, for example, includes the Microsoft, the Texas Instruments, the Oracles. You have the big giants there, right? The Volvos of the world. And I think, therefore, the local leadership has a responsibility to ensure that those who are domiciled, because you have to define who is the local person. If I'm from Bihar...
So the best way to prove that you are domiciled is actually to put a board, notice board, and write with chalks how many Kannadigas you employ. And this is how you display... this is... 1 minute, gentlemen. This is how you display your commitment to your people, to your locals. Anand Ranganathan, makes sense to you because the two political parties seem to be even keel. Nobody wants to create a panic because they can't go against the domicile argument. It's a political argument. In the meanwhile, if MNCs get spooked, so what?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to my fellow panelists. It makes complete sense because as far as Congress is concerned, they want to create this hatred and division amongst people. This display of how many Kannadigas are being hired is nothing short of dog whistling. Now, I do understand what both party supporters, the BJP and the Congress are saying, and it does make sense because domicile have always been encouraged in their states as far as jobs, both public and private, are concerned from the 60s onwards, and there have been many political dispensations who fought over this. Incidentally, it is now almost a norm that whenever Sanjay speaks, he speaks selectively. So he talked about Haryana. He completely missed out that Congress-ruled states have even gone more stricter in reserving jobs for the domicile. For example, when Mr. Channi was the Chief Minister of Punjab, he actually made an ordinance that was even tougher than what Haryana's Mr. Khattar had. So both political parties are responsible for reserving jobs for their domiciles. There is a point for that. But to list out how many people from the local state are employed in a company outside is nothing short of dog whistling, because as it is, company have their records, and if any administration wants to find out how many people are there, is it over and above or less than the number that is required or sanctioned by the government can take the company to the side, maybe take it to the court and say you're not following the rules. But to put it up on a board, as you say, is nothing short of dog whistling and extreme, basically promoting hatred, which is what the Congress and its supporters, suspended or unsuspended, are known for.
Well, Sanjay Jha, Rahul Gandhi yesterday questioning a journalist whether he's an OBC, whether his Malik is an OBC. Today, Karnataka requiring people to put out on notice board how many Kannadigas they employ. How much of the Inspector Raj are we wanting to bring back? Because if you have requirement of these local employments, then you will have inspectors to check it, and then there will be, statutory norms where, companies will have to show that they are adhering to these norms. What are you planning to do? And is this the best way? Is this the best way domicile rights can be protected? Because in Delhi, I'm sorry, there are no domicile rights. My kids who study, who were born in Delhi, did not have any advantage in the colleges because from, schools across the country, children came here. 100 kids from certain state boards will get into the 100 seats that are there. Delhi doesn't get a preference, but all other states should. I mean, are we going to have a uniform policy, or are we going to decide it, kiski sarkar kahan hai, and let's do it accordingly?
Navika, very quickly. I think denying the sons of the soil as being a political challenge, as well as I think a business imperative, is like denying that India doesn't have a caste problem or India doesn't have a religious issue. They are realities. I don't think we should have lovely debates on your program. I refuse to shy away from biting the bullet on what is a political truism. Here is the point I wish to make. If according to the scientist here on the program who used very rapid words like hatred, which I think is deeply unfortunate, but according to him, Narendra Modi saying Atmanirbhar or Narendra Modi trying to put tariff is actually dog whistling, because he's only batting for people within the country, and it is basically saying no to globalization. It's a preposterous argument. I don't want to even waste my time.
Are you equating country borders with state borders? Are we now going to begin to create countries within countries? Is that the point you're making, Sanjay Jha?
Navika, I think the gentleman here, if I'm not getting I'm forgetting his name, Mr. Bhaskar, has been so absolutely on the dot, although maybe we are on different sides of the political fence. End of day, we all are answerable to our people. And I think to give credit to the Karnataka government, that they have not put some kind of a mathematical limit on how much you should hire or not hire. It's just said, I think it's just a way to remind people that you have an obligation.
Okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge is all it is. Anand Ranganathan, don't take them too seriously. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Navika, there is a reason why some people have been suspended from the Congress, because two illogical people cannot be in the same party. Maybe that must be the dictum. Now, the point that I made was that there is nothing against reserving jobs for domicile. Every political party that is governing a state has been doing it. Congress did it. Sanjay Jha did not disclose it because obviously, yes, he's a Congress apparatchik. So that's fine. That's fine by me. I don't mind that Congress, Sanjay talking about Haryana and not about Punjab. That's all right. That's his business. The point is every state does it, right? But have you ever seen somebody putting out that these many Kannadigas are there, these many should be there, that is blatant dog whistling. As I said, if the state anyway gets all the records from all these companies, how many people have they employed, how many of them are domiciled. So just to put it out there is basically scaremongering and dog whistling to the extreme.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the intent is, whether it is noble or whether it is, something that should be looked at again. But what I do get a sense is, those are the conversations happening in corporate boardrooms right now, is that how much of the Inspector Raj is going to come back, and will this actually be a deterrent? Will this complicate lives for investors and companies that work out of Bengaluru? Well, all I can say is it's an area where governments need to tread carefully. Locals are important, domiciles are important, no question about that. Having said that, stability of policy also an important factor that needs to be kept in mind. We leave it at that. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. And thank you, viewers, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same show. The News Hour at 9.